HERCOLUBUS, or Planet X, or Nibiru, wormwood, various names, the greatest mystery of the modern era. The final shift fast approaches, some claim. We live in a time when common sense has become quite rare, likewise the voice of reason fleeing humanity, and for these reasons this essay will be quite difficult for many to understand or believe or imbibe. If you were running the world during these tumultuous times and you knew that events were on the horizon which would forever alter the entire planetary civilization, would you use the global mainstream media to tell everyone? If those earth-shattering events were as unstoppable as they were fateful, would you disseminate this information? If your answer is yes, what will the 8 billion plus people who reside on planet Earth do the next day? That is, after you tell them that the world is about to be coming to an end, as there would be an extinction level event, as there was in the past. Will they still go to work? Will they continue to support a consumer society? Many of them even want to get out of bed, will not want to get out of bed to hear what's coming. And here lies the challenge that is faced by the world governments. Bear in mind that they know exactly what is around the corner. Their strategically located observatories, high-powered telescopes give them access to scientific data and astronomical phenomena which is compelling. They feel they have no alternative but to distract. Now, with this understanding, one can better comprehend the many unreasonable and irrational, mindless, foolish, crazy, insane actions taken by governments. Obviously, they know their time is up, and accordingly, they have less and less control. They have put in place Plan A, Plan B, Plan C. However, there are many emerging eventualities over which they have far less influence than what they're used to. HERCOLUBUS, the coming, is coming, according to Carlos Munoz Ferrada. HERCOLUBUS, or Planet X or Nibiru. We're not suggesting that all of the scientific predictions of Carlos Munoz Ferrada are entirely accurate. Prophecies of this nature are rarely perfect. However, what this highly intuitive and gifted astronomer and seismologist has told us cannot be ignored. Carlos Munoz Ferrada predicted with extraordinary accuracy numerous earthquakes in South America during the last century. He did this by making direct correlations between scientific astronomical phenomena and various catastrophic earthquakes and volcanic eruptions. His most significant prediction regarding the future arrival of a great Comet-Planet, he called it. And for those who did not watch his videos, Ferrada called it a Comet-Planet because it has the size of a planet and the speed and elliptical orbit of a comet. So whether you believe it or not, what matters is that there have been numerous prognostications of this nature over millennia, which simply can no longer be ignored in the face of such perversion and compelling evidence. Let's remember that the Sumerian legends talked about Planet X Nibiru. But what kind of evidence is there? It's important to point out that Latin America has produced other gifted visionaries like Carlos Munoz Ferrada, and here are three of those individuals who have independently referred to the future happenings delineated by Carlos Ferrada. Number 1, V.M. Rabolu. He lived between 1926 and 2000, was born in Tolima, Colombia. In 1998, he wrote HERCOLUBUS, or Red Planet. Based on his direct and conscious experience, V.M. Rabolu described the terrible events that will happen on our planet in the short term and explains the path that the human being can follow in order to achieve a deep transformation. HERCOLUBUS, a planet so called by the sages of antiquity, is approaching our solar system, he claims, and is the cause of great concern for those who know about such cosmic phenomena. In our former encounter, HERCOLUBUS put an end to the Atlantean civilization, and these facts are duly related through all the universal floods of different religions and cultures, he says. The consequence of the very close proximity of HERCOLUBUS, or Planet X Nibiru, wormwood, whatever you want to call it, be upheaval in all corners of the planet. This is from HERCOLUBUS, or Red Planet, by V.M. Rabolu, Diana's Pub, October 1, 2002. The second person is Benjamin Solari Paravicini, 1898 to 1974. He was born in Buenos Aires, Argentina, on August 8. He says, Benjamin Solari Provincia, the great Argentinian prophet, who was nicknamed the South American Nostradamus, wrote some decades ago, "The hour of hours will arrive, and in its darkness the crash of the big planet will be received. The earth will be reversed, everything will fall." Number 3, Samuel on Weor, March 6, 1917 to December 24, 1977, was born as Victor Manuel Gomez Rodriguez in Bogota, Colombia. Samuel on Weor, the great Gnostic master who gave numerous lectures in Mexico during the 1970s, he talked about HERCOLUBUS, Planet X Nibiru, and explained that in the times of the end, it would approach the Earth. Due to its great electromagnetic power, he said it would destabilize the Earth's crust, causing huge earthquakes, tidal waves, volcanic eruptions, and natural disasters. HERCOLUBUS would have approached our solar system in former occasions to unleash cataclysms that wiped out the Lemurian and Atlantean civilizations. Now he said it would come again to end our civilization and again allow a new era to begin. This is written in the final prophecy by the Alcyon Association. Now, why else do you think the Vatican owns an observatory outside Safford, Arizona? Not only does the Vatican operate the Vatican Advanced Technology Telescope at Mount Graham International Observatory, MGIO, located in southeast Arizona's Pinalemo Mountains, they share the same facility with the Large Binocular Telescope Observatory. Construction of MGIO began in 1989. MGIO currently operates and maintains facilities for 3 scientific organizations. The first 2 telescopes, the Vatican Advanced Technology Telescope and the Heinrich Hertz Submillimeter Telescope, began operations in 1993. The Large Binocular Telescope, one of the world's largest and most powerful telescopes, began operations using mirrors independently in 2004, with joint operations between the 2 mirrors beginning in 2008. The Vatican Secret Archives has probably more volumes of original documents in the form of scriptural treatises, as well as historic records produced on the ancients, than any other library on earth. The Roman Catholic Church is further informed about the future of humanity from numerous Marian apparitions, which have occurred around the world over the past 200 years. It is a well-known fact in certain circles that many of the prophecies which were given to mostly children have never been released by the church hierarchy because of the dire content. What might this be the case? Why might this be the case? Because those controlling the information know that such doses of reality are simply too much for the masses to bear. Of course, they have deliberately leaked this and that information over many decades so that those who have ears to hear will receive the messages they are meant to. The Vatican is also well aware of St. Malachi's prophecy regarding the last 10 popes, as well as those similar revelations given in various Marian apparitions, and by these and other accounts such as Nostradamus, the current Pope Francis will be the final Roman pontiff in the tradition of the Catholic Church of Rome. One of those prognostications presents the actual content of when the current Pope would be forced to flee Rome in December when the great comet is seen in the daytime, it says. Medjugorje is one of the latest and most famous series of Marian prophecies, which clearly indicates that huge changes are coming to planet Earth. Whenever these predictions veer into Earth change territory, they always speak of massive, unprecedented cataclysmic events overtaking the entire planetary realm. No location is spared, except those which are preordained as safe havens for the protected portion of humanity that is to be safeguarded. The Marian apparitions at Garabandal in Portugal also imparted prophecy which used similar language about a warning to all humanity, as well as chastisement which would humble every human being. So have many other lesser-known appearances of the Blessed Virgin Mary, such as those by the Bayside prophecies. Even the third secret of Fatima is said to concern the end times, which is why it was never officially released by the Vatican. The primary agent of such massive global change is usually referred to as a shift, specifically an axis pole shift where the Earth actually shifts on its axis by a number of degrees. In her book, Mary's Message to the World, Annie Kirkwood makes it clear that Mary speaks about the turning of the Earth, meaning the flipping of the Earth. An axis pole shift is the only planet-wide geophysical event which can generate so many predicted changes. The historical record, both geological and archaeological, is replete with hard evidence of periodic planetary catastrophism. Our blue orb, our planet, in fact, experienced global landmass rearrangements at the closing of eras and conclusion of epochs since the beginning of time. And as we approach the current denouement of the Kali Yuga age of conflict, also known as the Iron Age, it is certain that Mother Earth will once again turn on her axis so that the old lands can be rejuvenated, refreshed. That is by a necessity, they claim. So the new lands can emerge to sustain the new race of humanity is likewise an essential byproduct of axial pole shifts. Therefore, the million-dollar question is just what kind of celestial event would provide the requisite interplanetary dynamic to precipitate a shifting of the Earth on its axis. Barring an invisible form of Deus ex machina to produce such an outcome, only a celestial intruder of great order will possess all the right stuff to cause an Earth to literally roll over and stay there as the new normal. Hence, we see more weight than ever afforded to the various schools of thought which promote Planet X Nibiru type of a thing. Planet X, HERCOLUBUS, Nibiru, Wormwood, 10th planet, 9th planet, Red Planet, the Destroyer, Nemesis, Marduk, Tyche, Red Star, Kachina. All these are the names. Of all these names have been proffered as candidates of the heavenly body which may be responsible for both past and future catastrophism on Earth. That's not to say that there are not other diverse possibilities when considering the various apocalyptic scenarios which the planet has been proven to undergo. However, asteroids and large meteors, gamma bursts and supernovas each have their obvious deficiencies when trying to explain an event like a pole shift. Of all the theories which abound, and there are many on the internet, the narrative surrounding HERCOLUBUS seems to be the most plausible. It also appears to be the one which forms the basis for all the others. Even the Nibiru story and the Anunnaki travelers seem to have originated from the HERCOLUBUS version of earth-shaking events. It's true the Sun has gone through some major changes over the past few decades. We wonder if this new location in the galaxy vis-a-vis the galactic center is enough to bring about such a profound and fundamental transformation. We also wonder if there are other galactic happenings, both seen and unseen, which may be triggering and sustaining the Sun's new behavior. As the Sun ages, it's quite possible that it's simply entering a new phase of existence, not too unlike the teenager growing into a young adult. However, there does exist an overwhelming body of evidence which points directly to the influence of sizable planetary sphere within the outer reaches of our solar system. This would also explain many of the other recent and radical changes undergone by all the other planets in our solar system. Especially one with immense gravitational field would be required for the axis shift in question to occur. Such a celestial body would also have to possess other extraordinary properties and unique features in order to effectuate the pole shift, as is often foretold. In other words, it appears to have its own type of intelligence. So now the question is, where is this planet, or planet comet? Just where is this heavenly body which may be careening towards our solar system at this very moment? Dr. Jerry Neuberger, Neubauer, IRAS Chief Scientist for California's Jet Propulsion Laboratory and Director of the Palomar Observatory for the California Institute of Technology, rendered an account which ended up in the Washington Post back in 1983. Quote, "A heavenly body, possibly as large as a giant planet Jupiter, and possibly so close to Earth that it would be part of this solar system, has been found in the direction of the constellation Orion by an orbiting telescope aboard the U.S. infrared astronomical satellite." End quote. Quote, "So mysterious is the object that astronomers do not know if it is a planet, a giant comet, a nearby protostar, or an exoplanet that never got hot enough to become a star, a distant galaxy so young that it is still in the process of forming its first stars, or a galaxy so shrouded in dust that none of its light cast by its stars ever gets through. All I can tell you is that we don't know what it is," end quote, Dr. Jerry Neubauer said in the interview back in 1983. Another noted astronomer, Dr. Robert Harrington, was convinced of the existence of Planet X because of the perturbations which many in his field had observed on both Neptune and Uranus. Dr. Sutton Harrington, Robert Sutton Harrington, October 21, 1942 until January 23, 1993, was an American astronomer who worked at the United States Naval Observatory, USNO. Harrington became a believer in the existence of Planet X Nibiru beyond Pluto and undertook searches for it, with positive results coming from the IRAD probe in 1983. Harrington collaborated initially with T.C. Tom Van Flandern, per Wikipedia. When scientists noticed that Uranus was not following its predicted orbit, for example, they didn't question their theories. Instead, they blamed the anomalies on an as yet unseen planet, and sure enough, Neptune was discovered in 1846. Now astronomers are using the same strategy to explain quirks in the orbits of Uranus and Neptune. According to John Anderson of the Jet Propulsion Laboratory, Pasadena, California, this odd behavior suggests that the Sun has an unseen companion, a dark star gravitationally bound to it by billions of miles away. We're talking about a binary solar system here. Other scientists suggest that the most likely cause of the orbital snags is a 10th planet 4 to 7 billion miles beyond Neptune. A companion star would tug the outer planets, not just Uranus and Neptune, says Thomas Van Flandern of U.S. Naval Observatory, and where he admits a 10th planet is possible, but argues that it would have to be so big, at least the size of Uranus, that it should have been discovered by now. Might crop circles be telling us about an approaching celestial body, aka Planet X, from outside our solar system? Planets, all of them, have been experiencing unparalleled and dramatic transformation never seen or recorded before. They're undergoing variations in the atmosphere. For example, on Mars, the Martian atmosphere is getting sizably thicker, and Earth's moon is growing an atmosphere, and according to Dr. Alexei Dmitriev, there is a 6,000 kilometer deep layer of natrium that was not there previously, he said. He says that we're having this kind of change in the upper levels of Earth's atmosphere, where HO gas is forming that was not there before. It simply did not exist in the quantity that it does now. It's not related to global warming, and it's not related to CFCs or fluorocarbon emissions or any of that stuff. It's just showing up, he says. Magnetic fields and brightness of the planets are changing. The planets are experiencing sizable increases in their overall luminosity. Venus, for example, is showing us marked elevations in its overall brightness. Jupiter has such a high energetic charge now that there is actually a visible tube of ionized radiation that has formed between it and its moon. You can actually see the luminous energy tube in photographs that have been taken recently, and in addition, the magnetic field strength of each planet has increased. Uranus and Neptune appear to have had recent pole shifts. When the Voyager 2 space probe flew past Uranus and Neptune, the apparent north and south magnetic poles were sizably offset from where the rotational pole was. In one case, it was 50 degrees off, and in another case, the difference was around 40 degrees, both of which are pretty big changes. The overall changes could easily be broken down into three categories: energy field changes, luminosity changes, atmospheric changes. The bigger danger for Earth, HERCOLUBUS Planet X Nibiru inbound. According to Luis Freitas, August 29, 2010, he says. Now, the worldwide weather patterns have also gone into a crash and burn mode, both literally and figuratively. Every region of the world has now experienced a periodic and profound departure from the traditional weather norms, since records have been kept according to global climate change does not accurately describe the planetary predicament. An ongoing worldwide atmospheric apocalypse does, manifesting as localized weather cataclysms. Might the incoming Planet X Comet-Planet have hyperdimensional qualities? First, it's critical to understand the physical nature and behavior of this hypothetical comet-planet can only be properly understood when viewed through the lens of electric universe theory as well as plasma cosmology. For instance, Carlos Fareda has stated that HERCOLUBUS travels at 300 kilometers per second for half of its orbit, and he emphasizes that it's 1/1000th of the speed of light. Therefore, we can only assume that this particular heavenly body is quite literally a heavenly body, one that obeys a set of laws that can neither be defined by quantum mechanics or theory of relativity. It may even be the case that the electric universe cannot adequately explain the dynamic components of a comet planet. For the uninitiated, the esoteric field of hyperdimensional physics, HDP, is still emerging from its infancy. It does, however, provide a quasi-geophysical context in which a celestial body of extraordinary size and speed can behave as a comet planet. Both the electric universe theory and HDP also accommodate many other inexplicable aspects of the solar system and anomalies throughout the Milky Way galaxy which have eluded sound scientific explanation for decades. And this is on Soul Ask. Please leave your comments. Thank you for your support. Kindly support my Patreon account. The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box below.